been sleeping with my wife.
I don't know what you are talking about. Jack, please, you are making a scene.
The text message wasn't meant for me. That's what made it so damn perfect. I was fixing the carburetor on my '98 Mustang in the garage when my daughter Sam's iPad buzzed on the workbench. The screen lit up with a notification that would change everything. She said, "You don't need to know what happens on a girl's trip. That's why you're blocked until I'm home." But when she came back expecting me at the airport, she found out who was really waiting for her. My name's Jack Morrison, 43 years old, maintenance supervisor at Mercy General Hospital here in Millfield, Massachusetts. 20 years married to Erica, who works at some tech startup downtown. Or worked, as you'll find out soon enough. Nothing says marital bliss like your wife blocking you on social media for a weekend of networking and mojitos with the girls. That's what she called it when she left last Friday, rolling her designer suitcase to her Honda Pilot like she was heading to some corporate retreat instead of whatever the hell she was really doing. I wiped my greasy hands on my coveralls and stared at that message. The iPad was connected to our family account, so messages sometimes crossed over. This one was clearly from Erica to someone else, someone who knew about the blocking. Someone who was apparently waiting for her instead of me. "Dad, you seen my iPad?" Sam called from the kitchen door. She was 22, fresh out of college, living in our basement while she figured out her life. Smart kid, but she had her mother's talent for avoiding uncomfortable truths. "Right here, sweetheart." I handed it over, but not before taking a photo of that message with my phone. Call it insurance. Sam glanced at the screen and her face went pale. "Dad, Don't worry about it." I turned back to the engine. "Just wondering why your mother needs to block her husband to have a good time with her girlfriends." The garage fell silent except for the tick of cooling metal. Sam shifted her weight from foot to foot, that nervous habit she'd had since she was 5. Maybe she just wanted some space, you know? Girls need that sometimes. I looked up at my daughter, really looked at her. When had she learned to lie so smoothly? "Sam, honey, how long has your Uncle Miles been coming around when I'm at work?" Her face went white as hospital sheets. "Dad, Miles Patterson, your mom's co-worker. The guy who drives that flashy BMW and wears too much cologne. How long?" She started crying then, those big tears that used to melt my heart when she skinned her knee or lost a toy. Now they just made me angry. "I didn't want to lie to you," she whispered, "but Mom said it was complicated, that you wouldn't understand." I set down my wrench very carefully. "What wouldn't I understand, Sam? They're just friends. He comes over sometimes for coffee. They work together. Mom says you're paranoid because of your dad cheating on Grandma." My father had cheated, that was true. Left my mother for his secretary when I was Sam's age. But this wasn't paranoia. This was pattern recognition. When did this start? I don't know. Maybe 6 months ago? "Dad, you're scaring me." 6 months. Right around the time Erica got promoted to regional manager. Right around the time she started working late, going to more conferences, buying new clothes. "Sam, I need you to be honest with me. Has your mother been lying about where she goes?" She looked at her shoes. "Sometimes." "What about this weekend? Was this really a girls' trip?" "I think Jessica was supposed to go, but she canceled last minute. Mom went anyway." Jessica Hartwell, Erica's best friend since college, the kind of woman who'd cover for her friends no matter what. If Jessica canceled, that meant Erica went alone. Or with someone else. I pulled out my phone and called Jessica. "Jack? Is everything okay?" Her voice was tight with concern. "Hey Jess, just wondering how the girls' trip went. Erica's been pretty quiet about it." Long pause. Too long. "Oh, you know how these things are. Lots of drinks, lots of gossip. We had a great time." "That's funny, because Sam just told me you canceled last minute." Another pause. I could practically hear her scrambling. "I did, but I meant the other girls. Sarah from her work, And that new girl, Michelle? I didn't know any Sarah or Michelle from Erica's work, and Jessica was a terrible liar. Right. Well, thanks for looking out for her. Always, Jack. You know that. But I was starting to think I didn't know anything at all. After Sam went inside, I sat in my garage staring at that text message. The pieces were falling into place like a jigsaw puzzle made of broken glass. The late nights, the new clothes, the way she'd started putting her phone face down during dinner, the blocking on social media. My neighbor, Mrs. O'Brien, chose that moment to peek over our shared fence. She was 70-something with silver hair and eyes that missed nothing. Jack, dear, how was Erica's trip? Fine, Mrs. O'Brien. Thanks for asking. That's good. I was worried when I saw that strange car in your driveway Thursday night. Thought maybe you had a break-in. My blood went cold. Thursday night? Oh yes, around 11. A dark BMW. Stayed until quite late. But if Erica was home, I suppose it was just a friend. Erica had left Friday morning. She'd been home Thursday night, and she'd had company. Company that drove a dark BMW. Did you see who it was? No, dear. Too dark. But they seemed to know where they were going. I thanked Mrs. O'Brien and went inside. The house felt different now, like a crime scene waiting to be processed. I walked through the rooms where my wife had been entertaining another man while I worked late at the hospital, fixing broken equipment and covering extra shifts to pay for her new lifestyle. The guest bathroom smelled like cologne. Expensive cologne. The kind Miles Patterson wore. I found the hotel receipt in Erica's dresser drawer, tucked inside a book she'd never read. The Lakeside Motor Lodge, Thursday night. 1 room, 2 guests, charged to a credit card I didn't recognize. My hands were shaking when I called the hospital. Mercy General, this is Patricia. Pat, it's Jack. I need to take a personal day tomorrow. Everything okay, hun? Family emergency. It wasn't a lie. My family was definitely having an emergency. They just didn't know it yet. The Lakeside Motor Lodge sat on Route 9 like a relic from the 1970s, all faded paint and broken neon. The kind of place where people went when they didn't want to be seen. I parked across the street and watched the office through my binoculars. The desk clerk was a thin guy in his 20s with greasy hair and the look of someone who'd seen too much. Perfect for what I needed. Help you? He asked when I walked in. Maybe. I'm looking for my wife. She might have stayed here Thursday night. Blonde, about 5'6", probably with a guy in a BMW. He shifted uncomfortably. We don't give out guest information. I pulled out my wallet and set a $100 bill on the counter. I'm not asking for information. I'm asking if you remember seeing them. The money disappeared faster than my marriage vows. Room 12. Checked in around 10, left early Friday morning. She seemed nervous. He seemed like a real piece of work. How so? Kept complaining about everything, the room, the towels, the Wi-Fi. Treated her like garbage, too. Ordering her around, making her carry the bags. Miles Patterson in a nutshell. I'd met him at a few company events, the kind of guy who wore expensive suits to hide his cheap personality. They say anything about where they were going? The guy mentioned something about the airport, said she had to catch a flight. The flight to nowhere. While I sat at Logan Airport like an idiot, waiting for a wife who was probably in Miles's bed, laughing about how stupid I was. I drove to Erica's office next. TechFlow Solutions occupied the 3rd floor of a glass building downtown, all modern furniture and motivational posters. The receptionist was young and eager to please. Is Miles Patterson in today? I asked. Oh, Mr. Patterson is out sick today. Can I take a message? Sick. Right. Probably recovering from his romantic weekend. How about Erica Morrison? I'm her husband. The girl's face lit up. Mrs. Morrison. She's in a meeting, but I can get her for you. She talks about you all the time. I'll bet she does. That's okay. I just wanted to surprise her with lunch. Maybe I'll catch her later. I was walking back to my car when I heard my name. Jack Morrison? Is that you? I turned to see Pete Kowalski, my old boxing buddy from Murphy's gym. Pete was built like a brick wall and twice as dense, but he had a good heart. Pete, how's it going? Can't complain. Hey, I saw your wife the other night. She was at Flanagan's with some suit. Looked pretty cozy. Flanagan's was an upscale bar downtown, the kind of place Erica had started frequenting lately. When was this? Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday. They were in a corner booth, real intimate-like. Figured you knew about it. Another lie. Another piece of the puzzle. She hadn't been working late those nights. She'd been on dates. Did you see them leave together? Pete looked uncomfortable. Jack, maybe you should talk to your wife about this. I'm talking to you, Pete. Did they leave together? Yeah, man, they did. I'm sorry. I clapped Pete on the shoulder. Don't be sorry. You're the only one telling me the truth. That afternoon, I did something I'd never done before. I went through Erica's things. Really went through them. Her computer was password protected, but she'd always been lazy about security. Her password was Sam's birthday. The email account told the whole story. Months of messages between Erica and Miles, plans for secret meetings, complaints about me, discussions about their future together. The most recent exchange made my blood boil. Miles. Can't wait to have you all to myself this weekend. No interruptions, no lies, just us. Erica. I blocked Jack on everything so he can't ruin this. After this weekend, we need to talk about making this permanent. Miles. You mean divorce? Erica. I mean getting rid of the dead weight. I'm tired of pretending to be happy with a maintenance worker when I could be with someone who actually has ambition. Dead weight. 20 years of marriage, and I was dead weight. There were photos, too. Erica and Miles at restaurants I couldn't afford. Erica and Miles at a beach resort I'd never heard of. Erica and Miles in bed at the Lakeside Motor Lodge. I printed everything, every email, every photo, every receipt. Then I put it all in a folder and locked it in my toolbox. My phone buzzed with a text from Erica. Flight delayed. Won't be home until late. Don't wait up. I looked at the timestamp on her last email to Miles, sent 20 minutes ago from her office computer. She wasn't at the airport. She was 3 miles away, probably planning her next move with her boyfriend. I texted back, no problem. Take your time. Then I drove to Murphy's gym and beat the hell out of a heavy bag until my knuckles bled. You okay, Jack? Murphy asked, wrapping my hands. He was an old Irish guy who'd run the gym for 30 years. My wife's cheating on me, Murph. Ah, hell. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be. I'm going to make her sorry instead. Murphy gave me a long look. Be careful, son. Revenge is a dangerous game. So is marriage, apparently. I went home and waited. Erica rolled in around midnight full of stories about flight delays and lost luggage. She was a good actress, I'll give her that. If I hadn't seen the evidence, I might have believed her. How was the conference? I asked. Oh, you know how these things are. Boring presentations, terrible food. I'm just glad to be home. She kissed my cheek, and I smelled Miles's cologne on her skin. I missed you, she said. I missed you too. It wasn't entirely a lie. I missed the woman I thought I'd married. The woman who existed before Miles Patterson and secret hotel rooms and plans to get rid of the dead weight. That night, I lay awake listening to my wife sleep and planning my next move. She wanted to play games? Fine. I'd been fixing broken things for 20 years. Time to learn how to break them. The company barbecue was Erica's idea. TechFlow Solutions threw one every summer at Riverside Park, complete with catered food and an open bar. Spouses were invited, which meant I got to meet the famous Miles Patterson face to face. He was exactly what I'd expected. Tall, handsome in a generic way, with perfect teeth and a firm handshake. The kind of guy who called everyone buddy and laughed too loud at his own jokes. You must be Jack, he said when Erica introduced us. I've heard so much about you. Funny, I haven't heard anything about you. His smile faltered for just a second. Well, I'm pretty new to the team. Still finding my place. I'm sure you'll find it eventually. Erica shot me a warning look, but I was just getting started. The barbecue was in full swing when I made my move. Miles was holding court near the beer tent, telling some story about a big sale he'd made. I walked up with 2 beers and handed him one. Miles, right? Mind if I ask you something? Sure, buddy. What's up? How long have you been sleeping with my wife? The conversation around us died like someone had hit a mute button. Miles went pale, then red, then pale again. What? Jack, I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. I've got the hotel receipts, the emails, the photos. The only thing I'm wondering is how long you thought you could get away with it. Erica appeared at my elbow like a bad rash. Jack, what are you doing? I'm having a conversation with your boyfriend. Miles, you were about to answer my question. Jack, please! Erica hissed. You're making a scene. Am I? I thought I was just getting to know my wife's coworkers better. Miles tried to salvage the situation. Look, Jack, I think you've got the wrong idea about... I threw my beer in his face. The crowd gasped. Miles stood there dripping, his perfect hair ruined, his expensive shirt stained. He looked like a drowned rat. Here's the thing about customer service, Miles, I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. The customer is always right, and I'm telling you that you've been providing services I never ordered. Someone laughed, then someone else. Pretty soon half the crowd was chuckling, and Miles looked like he wanted to disappear. You're crazy, he sputtered. Maybe, but I'm not the one screwing around in cheap motels while lying to my family. Erica grabbed my arm. We're leaving. Now. No, we're not. I'm just getting started. I turned to address the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank TechFlow Solutions for this lovely barbecue. And I'd especially like to thank Miles Patterson here for showing my wife such dedicated customer service, above and beyond the call of duty, you might say. The laughter was louder now. Miles was backing away, but I wasn't done with him. Miles, before you go, I have something for you. I pulled out a manila envelope and handed it to him. Photos from your romantic getaway. I thought you might want copies for your portfolio. He opened the envelope and his face went white. The photos were all there, him and Erica at the hotel, at restaurants, in compromising positions. You sick bastard, he whispered. I'm not the one who's sick, Miles. I'm just the one who's tired of being lied to. Erica was pulling on my arm now, trying to drag me away. Jack, stop this. You're embarrassing yourself. I'm embarrassing myself? That's rich, coming from someone who's been sneaking around behind her husband's back for 6 months. The crowd was eating it up. Nothing like a good public meltdown to spice up a corporate barbecue. You want to know the best part? I continued. She told me she was on a girls' trip last weekend. Blocked me on social media so I wouldn't interfere with her fun. Turns out the only girl involved was her. Miles was edging toward the parking lot, but I wasn't finished with him yet. Miles, wait. Don't you want to tell everyone about your big plans? About getting rid of the dead weight? He stopped cold. What? That's what you called me in your emails. Dead weight. I printed them all out, by the way. Very romantic stuff. You should consider writing greeting cards. Erica was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. Jack, please stop. Why? Because it's embarrassing? Because people are staring? Welcome to my world, Erica. This is what it feels like when someone you trust decides to humiliate you. Miles had reached his BMW. He was fumbling with his keys, desperate to escape. But I had one more surprise for him. I'd spent the morning at the hardware store buying supplies, spray paint specifically, bright red spray paint. Miles, I called out. You forgot something. I pulled out the can and started spraying his windshield. Big red letters, CHEATER. You're insane, he screamed, running toward me. Maybe, but I'm thorough. I moved to the side windows, home wrecker. Miles grabbed for the can, but I was faster. 20 years of manual labor had kept me in better shape than his gym membership. Stop it! That's a $60,000 car. And this is a 20-year marriage. Guess which one I value more? Security was coming now. 2 rent-a-cops jogging across the park. Time to go. I tossed the empty spray can to Miles. Here's a souvenir, something to remember me by. Then I walked calmly to my Mustang and drove away, leaving behind a crowd of stunned coworkers, a sobbing wife, and a very angry man with a vandalized BMW. My phone started ringing before I'd made it to the street. Erica, Miles, even Sam. I turned it off and drove to Murphy's gym. How'd it go? Murphy asked. Better than expected, worse than hoped. You want to talk about it? Not yet. Right now, I just want to hit something. Fair enough, but Jack? Yeah? Whatever you're planning next, make sure it's worth the cost. I looked at my reflection in the gym mirror. For the first time in months, I liked what I saw. A man who'd stopped being a victim and started being something else. Something dangerous. It will be, Murph. It will be. The fallout from the barbecue was swift and brutal. By Monday morning, half of Millfield had seen the cell phone videos. My public humiliation of Miles Patterson was trending on the local Facebook groups, complete with commentary from people who'd never met any of us, but had plenty of opinions about marriage, loyalty, and spray paint. Erica moved into the guest room. We barely spoke except to argue about lawyers and custody and who would keep the house. Sam sided with her mother, which hurt more than I'd expected. Dad, you're acting crazy, she said over breakfast. Mom made a mistake, but what you did was cruel. Cruel? Your mother's been lying to us for months. She's been planning to leave me for another man. But I'm the cruel one. You humiliated her in front of everyone she works with. She humiliated herself. I just made sure people noticed. Sam shook her head and left for work. Another ally lost to Erica's version of events. But I wasn't done. Not even close. I'd been doing research, using skills I'd developed maintaining hospital equipment to investigate my wife's double life. Bank records, credit card statements, phone logs. Amazing what you could find when you knew where to look. Erica had been sloppy. A joint account here, a shared credit card there. She'd been funding her affair with our money, taking Miles to expensive dinners while I ate leftovers at home. The real revelation came when I hacked into Miles's social media accounts. His password was pathetically simple, his birth year. What I found there made my blood boil. Photos of Erica that I'd never seen. Posts about his new relationship that predated her supposed girls' trip by months. Worst of all, comments from his friends congratulating him on trading up from his ex-girlfriend. But the smoking gun was a video from 3 weeks ago. Miles and Erica at some upscale restaurant, toasting with champagne. The caption read, "Celebrating my promotion and my beautiful girlfriend's decision to finally dump the dead weight." Promotion. That explained where Miles had gotten the money for his expensive lifestyle. And the timeline matched perfectly with when Erica had started acting distant. I saved everything to a flash drive and made multiple copies. Then I started planning phase 2 of my revenge. Pete found me at Murphy's gym that afternoon, working out my frustrations on the heavy bag. "Jack, you got a minute?" "What's up, Pete?" "I saw Miles Patterson today, at the hospital." I stopped punching. What was he doing at Mercy General? Getting his nose looked at. Said he walked into a door, but it looked more like someone rearranged his face. Interesting. Miles hadn't mentioned any injuries at the barbecue. Did he say anything else? Yeah, actually. He was talking to some guy in the waiting room, bragging about how he was going to teach that psycho husband a lesson. Mentioned something about pressing charges for vandalism. So Miles wanted to play hardball. Fine by me. "Pete, I need a favor." "Name it." "I need you to keep an eye on my house. Erica's been acting strange, and I think she's planning something." "You got it, buddy. What kind of strange?" "Secret phone calls, meetings with lawyers. She's up to something, and I want to know what it is before it bites me in the ass. Pete nodded grimly. Consider it done. That evening, I got my answer. Sam came home from work looking troubled. Dad, we need to talk. What's wrong? Mom's been asking me questions about your finances, your job, whether you've ever been violent. My stomach dropped. What kind of questions? She wanted to know if you've ever hit her or threatened her, if you have any guns, if you've been drinking more lately. Classic divorce strategy. Paint the husband as dangerous and unstable, then use it to justify taking everything in the settlement. Sam, you know I've never laid a hand on your mother. You know I barely drink. I know, Dad, but she's building a case against you. Her lawyer thinks she can get the house, alimony, everything. What lawyer? Some guy downtown. Mom's been meeting with him all week. I felt the walls closing in. While I'd been focused on exposing Erica's affair, she'd been 3 steps ahead, preparing to destroy me legally and financially. Sam, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Okay. Are you going to testify against me? She started crying. She's my mom, Dad. She says if I don't help her, she'll cut me off completely. No college fund, no car, nothing. So Erica was using our daughter as a weapon. That was a new low, even for her. It's okay, sweetheart. I understand. I'm sorry, Dad. I don't want to hurt you. You're not hurting me. Your mother is. That night I called in sick to work and drove to the law offices of Brennan and Associates. The parking lot was nearly empty, but I recognized Erica's Honda Pilot in the corner. I waited 2 hours before she came out, accompanied by a thin man in an expensive suit. They talked for a few minutes by her car, then he handed her a thick folder. I followed her home, staying well back. She went straight to the guest room and locked the door. Around midnight, I heard her on the phone. It's going perfectly, she was saying. Jack's making it easy by acting like a lunatic. The spray paint thing was a gift. I pressed my ear to the door. No, Miles, I don't think he suspects anything about the restraining order. By Friday, he'll be out of the house and we can move forward with the divorce. Restraining order. She was going to claim I was dangerous and have me thrown out of my own home. The lawyer says with Jack's behavior at the barbecue and the vandalism, plus Sam's testimony about his erratic behavior, we should be able to get everything. The house, his pension, even spousal support. My hands were shaking with rage. 20 years of marriage, and she was planning to leave me with nothing. I can't wait to be done with this charade. I'm tired of pretending to be the victim when really I just want to be with you. I'd heard enough. I went to my workshop and started making plans. If Erica wanted to play dirty, I'd show her what dirty really looked like. The restraining order came on Friday morning, served by a sheriff's deputy who looked embarrassed to be there. Sorry about this, Jack, he said. Deputy Williams had gone to high school with me. I have to ask you to vacate the premises immediately. How long do I have? You can pack a bag, but you need to be out within the hour. I looked around the house I'd called home for 15 years. The kitchen where I'd made Sam breakfast every morning before school. The living room where we'd watched movies as a family. The garage where I'd restored my Mustang. All of it gone because my wife had decided I was dead weight. Can I ask what I'm supposed to have done? Williams consulted his paperwork. Threatening behavior, destruction of property, erratic conduct. Says here you've been drinking heavily and making violent threats. All lies. But lies with just enough truth mixed in to be believable. I packed my tools first. Everything else could be replaced, but I'd need my equipment for what came next. Then I threw some clothes in a duffel bag and walked out of my own front door. Pete was waiting by his truck across the street. You got somewhere to stay? He asked. Murphy's got a room above the gym. It's not much, but it'll do. What are you going to do? I'm going to finish what Erica started. The room above Murphy's gym was Spartan but clean. A bed, a dresser, a hot plate, and a small bathroom. It reminded me of my first apartment after high school, before I'd met Erica and started building what I thought was a life. I spent the weekend planning. Erica thought she'd won by getting me out of the house, but she'd actually given me the freedom to operate without witnesses. Monday morning, I called in sick to work again and drove to TechFlow Solutions. The security guard recognized me from the barbecue. "You can't be here, Mr. Morrison. I have instructions." "I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to talk to Ms. Kwan about my wife's performance." Ms. Kwan was Erica's boss, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who'd built the company from nothing. "Mr. Morrison, I'm very sorry about your personal situation, but I can't discuss employee matters with you. Even if those matters involve embezzlement?" Her expression sharpened. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out a folder thick with printouts, bank statements, expense reports, credit card receipts. "Your employee has been using company funds for personal expenses. Dinners with her boyfriend, hotel rooms, even jewelry. It's all documented here." Ms. Kwan studied the papers, her frown deepening with each page. "These are serious allegations, Mr. Morrison. They're not allegations. They're facts. Check your books. Cross-reference the expense reports with the actual purchases. You'll find that Erica's been very creative with her accounting." It wasn't entirely true. Erica had been careful to stay within the gray areas of company policy, but she'd been sloppy about documentation, and in the right light, her expenses looked suspicious. "Why are you bringing this to me?" "Because my wife is trying to destroy me, and I want her to understand that I can destroy her right back." Ms. Kwan's expression was unreadable. "I'll look into this." "You do that. And Ms. Kwan? You might want to look into Miles Patterson's expense reports while you're at it. I think you'll find some interesting patterns." I left the building feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Phase 1 complete. Phase 2 began that afternoon. I'd been saving the nuclear option for when I really needed it, and that time had come. The flash drive contained everything: emails, photos, financial records, even the video of Miles bragging about his promotion. But the real treasure was the recording I'd made through the guest room door, where Erica admitted that her claims about my dangerous behavior were lies. I spent 3 hours at a copy shop, printing everything in full color. Then I drove to the nicest neighborhood in Millfield, where Miles Patterson lived in a house he couldn't actually afford. His neighbors were the type who cared about appearances: lawyers, doctors, business owners, people who valued their reputations above almost everything else. I started with the mailboxes, slipping packets of photos under each one. Miles and Erica in bed, Miles and Erica stealing kisses in restaurant booths, Miles and Erica laughing about what idiots their respective spouses were. Then I moved to the cars, tucking packets under windshield wipers. By the time I was done, every house on Miles Street had received a comprehensive documentation of his affair. But I saved the best for last. Miles' ex-wife lived 3 streets over. According to the divorce records I'd pulled, she'd gotten custody of their 2 kids and a modest settlement. Nothing like what she deserved, but all she could afford to fight for. I knocked on her door around dinner time. "Mrs. Patterson? My name is Jack Morrison. I think we have something in common." She was a pretty woman in her 30s, with tired eyes and the look of someone who'd been through hell. "If this is about Miles, I don't want to hear it. It's about the money he's been hiding from you." That got her attention. I showed her the financial records I'd compiled. Miles's real income, his promotion, the expensive gifts he'd been buying Erica with money that should have gone to child support. "He told the court he was barely making ends meet," she whispered. "He lied. He's been making twice what he claimed, and he's been spending it on his girlfriend while your kids go without." She started crying. I knew something was wrong. The kids kept asking why Daddy had a new car but couldn't afford to take them to Disney World. "You can take this to your lawyer. Force him to reopen the divorce settlement. Get what you and your kids deserve." "Why are you helping me?" "Because Miles Patterson destroyed my family, and I want him to understand what that feels like." I left her with copies of everything and drove back to Murphy's gym. My phone was buzzing with calls from Erica, Miles, even Ms. Kwan. I ignored them all. The next morning, Pete knocked on my door. "Jack, you need to see this." He handed me his phone, open to the local news website. The headline read, "TechFlow Solutions Employees Suspended Pending Investigation." The article was brief but damning. 2 employees suspended for potential misuse of company funds. An internal investigation launched. Stock prices dropping. My phone rang. Ms. Kwan. "Mr. Morrison, I think we need to talk." "About what?" "About your wife's employment status and about a job opportunity that might interest you." "Interesting. What kind of opportunity?" "We need a new facilities manager, someone who understands systems, can spot problems before they become disasters. The pay is significantly better than what you're making at the hospital." She was offering me Erica's job. Not literally, but close enough. "I'll think about it." "Don't think too long. We need someone who can start immediately." After I hung up, I allowed myself a moment of satisfaction. Erica had wanted to trade up from a maintenance worker to an executive. Now she was unemployed while the maintenance worker was being offered an executive position. But I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. The final phase would require perfect timing and a location where everyone could see the show. The Millfield Summer Festival was this weekend. The whole town would be there, including Erica, Miles, and everyone who'd witnessed my public humiliation at the barbecue. Time to give them a finale they'd never forget. The Millfield Summer Festival transformed the town square into a carnival of food trucks, craft booths, and live music. The whole town came out for it, families with kids, teenagers on dates, old-timers complaining about the noise. It was the perfect stage for what I had planned. I'd spent the week preparing. New clothes, a haircut, even splurged on a professional photographer to document everything. If this was going to be my last act in Millfield, I wanted it recorded for posterity. Erica was there with Miles, playing the happy couple near the bandstand. She'd dyed her hair darker and was wearing a dress I'd never seen before. Miles had his arm around her waist, marking his territory like a dog pissing on a fire hydrant. Sam was with them, looking uncomfortable but loyal. My daughter had chosen her side, and it wasn't mine. I waited until the band finished their set and the crowd was looking for entertainment. Then I walked up to the bandstand and tapped the microphone. "Excuse me, folks. Sorry to interrupt, but I have an announcement to make." The crowd turned toward me, curious. I saw Erica's face go pale when she recognized my voice. "My name is Jack Morrison, and some of you might remember me from a little incident at a corporate barbecue last month." Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. Oh, they remembered. "Well, I'm here tonight to set the record straight. You see, my wife has been telling people that I'm dangerous, unstable, maybe even violent. She got a restraining order against me, threw me out of my own house, and tried to take everything I've worked for." Erica was pushing through the crowd now, trying to reach the stage. Miles was right behind her, his face red with anger. But here's the thing about truth, folks. It has a way of coming out. I pulled out a small speaker and connected my phone. This is a recording of my wife talking to her lawyer about her restraining order. Erica's voice filled the square, crystal clear. "Jack's making it easy by acting like a lunatic. The spray paint thing was a gift. I don't think he suspects anything about the restraining order. The lawyer says with Jack's behavior at the barbecue and the vandalism, plus Sam's testimony about his erratic behavior, we should be able to get everything." The crowd was dead silent now. You could hear crickets chirping in the trees. That's my wife admitting that her claims about my dangerous behavior were lies, perjury in legal terms. But wait, there's more. I played the rest of the recording. I can't wait to be done with this charade. I'm tired of pretending to be the victim when really I just want to be with you. Erica had reached the stage. "Jack, stop this. You're sick." "Am I? Let's ask the crowd what they think." I turned to face the audience. "How many of you think lying under oath to steal your husband's house makes you sick?" A few hands went up, then more. Pretty soon half the crowd was raising their hands. How about cheating on your husband for 6 months while planning to divorce him and take everything he owns? More hands. The crowd was getting into it now, like a game show audience. Miles tried to climb onto the stage, but Pete and a couple of other guys from the gym blocked his way. "You're finished, Morrison," Miles shouted. "I'll sue you for everything you've got." "With what money?" "Oh, that's right. You don't have any money, not anymore." I addressed the crowd again. You see, Miles here has been living beyond his means. Expensive cars, fancy dinners, all to impress my wife. But it turns out he's been stealing from his company to pay for it. "That's a lie!" Miles screamed. "Is it? Ask your ex-wife. She's reopening your divorce case based on the financial records you hid from the court. Turns out you owe her about $50,000 in back child support." Miles went white. The crowd murmured appreciatively. They loved a good comeuppance story. But the real kicker is this. My wife and her boyfriend have been fired from their jobs for embezzlement. The company is pressing charges. So while they were planning to take my house and my pension, they were actually destroying their own careers. Erica was crying now, mascara streaming down her face. "Jack, please, you've made your point." "Have I?" "Because I don't think you understand what you've lost yet." I pulled out another folder. "See, while you were busy lying to lawyers and judges, I was busy documenting everything. Every lie, every theft, every betrayal. And I've shared it all with some very interested parties." I started reading from a list. The IRS regarding unreported income. The district attorney regarding perjury and fraud. Your daughter's college regarding the fund you raided to pay for your affair. Sam's head snapped up at that last one. What? Your mother spent your college fund on hotel rooms and jewelry for her boyfriend. $20,000 that was supposed to pay for your education. Sam looked like she'd been slapped. "Mom, is that true?" Erica couldn't meet her eyes. "I was going to pay it back." "With what money?" "You're unemployed and about to be arrested." The crowd was eating this up. Nothing like a good public meltdown to spice up a summer festival. But I wasn't done yet. I had one more surprise. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet someone special. This is Mrs. Patterson, Miles's ex-wife." A woman stepped out of the crowd with 2 young kids. Miles's face went ashen. "She's here to serve Miles with some papers. Seems like he owes quite a bit in child support, and now that his real income has been exposed, she's entitled to a much bigger settlement." The woman walked up to Miles and handed him a thick envelope. "You're being sued for fraud, perjury, and child endangerment. My lawyer says we can take your house, your car, and garnish your wages for the next 10 years. Miles tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The crowd had formed a circle around the bandstand, and they weren't letting anyone leave. "The best part," I continued, "is that Erica and Miles are now both unemployed, both facing criminal charges, and both about to lose everything they own. Meanwhile, I've been offered a job as facilities manager at TechFlow Solutions. Seems like they need someone honest to clean up the mess my wife left behind." The crowd cheered. I was the underdog who'd come out on top, and they loved it. Erica made one last desperate play. "Jack, I'm sorry. I made mistakes, but we can work this out. We can go to counseling, start over." I looked at my wife of 20 years, the woman who'd called me dead weight, the woman who'd tried to steal my house and destroy my reputation, the woman who'd used our daughter as a weapon against me. "Erica, do you remember what you said in your emails about getting rid of the dead weight?" She nodded miserably. "Well, congratulations. Mission accomplished." I dropped the microphone and walked off the stage. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, patting me on the back and shaking my hand. Behind me, I could hear Erica sobbing and Miles shouting threats that no one was taking seriously. Pete fell into step beside me as I walked toward my Mustang. "Hell of a show, Jack." "Thanks. I've been practicing." "What are you going to do now?" I looked back at the festival, at the crowd still buzzing with excitement, at my ex-wife and her boyfriend standing in the wreckage of their lives. I'm going to start over. New job, new house, new life. Maybe find someone who doesn't think I'm dead weight. Sounds like a plan. I got in my car and drove away from Millfield, from the festival, from the life that Erica had tried to steal from me. In my rearview mirror, I could see the crowd still gathered around the bandstand, still talking about what they'd witnessed. They'd be talking about it for years. The night Jack Morrison got his revenge. The night the dead weight became the executioner. I rolled down the windows and let the summer air fill the car. For the first time in months, I felt free. Behind me, the festival continued without me. But the real show was over. I'd won.